leaders who are very significant within the TMC who've now resigned. When I say resign, of course, Suvendu Adhikari completely resigns from the TMC. The other two leaders, that's Kerlit Deeptangshu Chaudhary and Jitendra Tiwari, both of them have resigned from their corporation posts. So this is a big signal going out to Mamata Banerjee, because it's not just about these three leaders, it's about if there are more. TMC at the end of it has a stronghold in West Bengal. Of course, they're the dominant party, they're the ruling government, there no doubt. But at the end of it, the last assembly elections, we saw how BJP had already made inroads, and this time around, they seem to have picked up a lot more support within the state. A lot of accusations, allegations against the Mamata Banerjee government that they're not able to control law and order, and its security concerns for the people of West Bengal and whatnot, while the TMC blames the BJP of instigating violence constantly and trying to make it appear like an emergency situation in Bengal, while it's not. So this is a back and forth that's going on between the BMC and TMC and the BJP. Of course, Mamata Banerjee has called Jitendra Tiwari, one of those rebels, for talks tomorrow, and she also dispels, any talk on dissent within the party, saying that no, it's those who are not going to get a party ticket, they're the ones who are joining jumping boats. So this is just a story of sour grapes. This is Mamata's take on this, not really accepting that there could be some sort of dissent brewing within her party. We could be seeing some dissent, but Mamata says that this is poaching efforts by the BJP. They are trying to instigate and poach our leaders like they've done in every other state. That's what Mamata says. Now, a quick word on security that's been beefed up for Amit Shah. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is going to be holding a 2-day rally on December 19th and 20th in West Bengal as part of its campaign ahead of the assembly elections. And after the convoy of JP Nadda was attacked, it seems like the Home Minister now taking no chance, and he's ensuring that all security is in place for his convoy. Central security forces have been deployed for his convoy, and state armed police jawans also will be deployed to guard Amit Shah. In fact, security persons will be deployed in civil clothes. They're going to be in like ordinary people walking around, keeping a close watch on the crowds as well. This has also been deployed just to ensure that the procession happens safe and sound. Amit Shah now has a power-packed schedule, 2 days in this weekend. He's going to be visiting several areas. He will be visiting the ancestral home of Swami Vivekananda. He's also going to be having lunch with East Midnapur, those people, farmers particularly in that area. And also UP's Deputy Chief Minister, Keshav Prasad Maurya, will also be part of this rally along with Amit Shah. So it's a star-studded event where BJP is putting its entire mechanism to woo the voters of West Bengal. Now, there's also a political war that's turned around over the attack on JP Nadda's convoy. Remember the 3 IPS officers who were responsible for Nadda's convoy? They have been removed by the center and have been deployed at the center. They've been removed from the state and deployed from the center without permission from the state government. Without permission from Mamata Banerjee, the state has initiated the IPS officers has been given central deployment. Mamata, of course, upset, saying that this is blatant misuse of power. She says, and I quote, "This is a blatant misuse of emergency provision of IPS cadre rule." And she takes to Twitter, she says that she's not going to allow such brazen act and attempt to control the state's machinery. She said the center is trying to control the state through proxy, and she's not going to allow that. So far, she's not released those 3 IPS officers as per the center's demand. It's going to be interesting to see what really happens in time, whether the center will use force to pull out those IPS officers. The IPS officers are said to be very close to Mamata Banerjee and very integral for her government, considering that they belong to areas which is a stronghold of Mamata Banerjee. If they are removed, it seems like Mamata Banerjee, of course, is going to be upsetting her system that's in place currently. Now, a quick word on the BJP's memorandum that it's submitted to the Election Commission. Now, the BJP in West Bengal has submitted a memorandum to the Election Commission saying that the elections must be completely secured in West Bengal, considering law and order issues. It's worrisome that so many attacks are happening, and there should be proper security and deployment in West Bengal. So this is what the request the BJP has made. They've also requested for paramilitary forces during the election in West Bengal that's due to come, saying that Mamata Banerjee isn't able to handle the security, and therefore the center must step in, or the Election Commission must push for it. In fact, they also accuse Mamata Banerjee of illegally inserting Rohingyas and Bangladeshis into the voter lists to rig votes. This is the allegation there. Now, the Election Commission, after the memorandum, has now come down to Kolkata to take on a 2-day visit to recce the entire place and to see if the situation is calm and if there should be such pumped up security deployed across the West Bengal. The Election Commission delegation now that is led by Deputy Election Commissioner Sudeep Jain are currently touring West Bengal. They're on a 2-day visit. In fact, Kolkata particularly that they're touring and to check what could be done. Now, the poll panel will be holding meetings with several district magistrates, superintendents of police and police commissioners of 15 districts as well. And the meeting will also be attended by the Chief Secretary, Home Secretary and the Secretaries of the DGP, Secretaries and the DGP of states. So this is a full security briefing that's going to be carried out over the next 2 days in Kolkata for the upcoming West Bengal elections. During the election period, what kind of security should be in place? Now, let me quickly cut across to Rahul Gandhi in the spotlight here because he walked out of a parliamentary committee meeting on defense. A lot of backlash on Rahul Gandhi saying that he has disrespected the armed forces and that when they were talking about the uniform of the armed forces, Rahul Gandhi stands up and walks out saying that it's a waste of time because they're not talking about serious issues about Chinese infiltration and intrusion. Instead, they're talking about the armed forces uniforms. Now, this is Rahul Gandhi's stance. Of course, the BJP is saying this is absolute insult, that he walks away. He first of all isn't present to hear anything and then over that condemns the government and condemns the armed forces. That's what the BJP says. Rahul Gandhi and a few other members of the party on Wednesday during the Parliamentary Committee on Defence had just walked out of this parliamentary committee meeting on defense, alleging that the panel's time was wasted in discussing armed forces uniform instead of the crucial issue of national security. In fact, sources within the Congress now says that Rahul Gandhi was not allowed. He wanted to speak up and interrupt at the meeting in the panel. He wanted to speak, but he was not allowed by Jual Oram of the BJP. When he raised his hand to speak about Chinese intrusions, he was struck down and therefore he got up and he walked out, and eventually it was called, Rahul Gandhi calls this a waste of time because he's not speaking on important issues. So this is what really happened. Now, a quick word on the Congress leadership. The Congress party is now trying to revamp its entire internal system to see if they can come up with a stronger leadership to present themselves in the upcoming, of course, well, election or no election, they've got to do some introspection. But here it seems like the Congress party now is looking for a Congress president, and they've been doing that for quite a long time. And Rahul Gandhi is adamant that he does not want to stand, or at least so seemingly so that he does not want to stand. He says that. But at the end of it, the party leaders say that no, only Rahul Gandhi is the best option to lead this legacy forward. So the Congress chief Sonia Gandhi has now called for a crucial meeting of party's top leadership. Sonia Gandhi has summoned senior leaders of the party on the 19th of December. Sources say that party's leadership crisis will be discussed and the hierarchy will be discussed and a lot more about how to, push the party to have a stronger front. Senior leaders, including some of the G23 group that have been called. Now, 23 Congress dissidents had also written a letter to Sonia Gandhi questioning the party's functioning and the kind of leadership it had. Many of those members are also going to be invited in this. Top leaders, senior leaders, if one remembers, were criticizing the party and the way it was functioning. They're also going to be invited to give their inputs on how the party could be evolved and what kind of changes could be made. Now, as per sources, like I said, Rahul Gandhi might not be willing to stand, but the party leadership says that he is the fit person. A quick word on Karnataka. The police now has detained CPM student wing leader in connection with the December 12th attack on Apple service center in Kolar in Karnataka, where the students or those protesters there damaged property worth 40 crores. And this, of course, now raises a big question on whether Apple as a company will go ahead with their massive investment that's due to happen in India. As part of their Make in India campaign, they were supposed to invest, they were supposed to come in with a big investment. Now this is clearly, like any other brand would be deterred. Apple also seems a little tentative now. There's no official word from them, but this is the fears that's now surfacing on after this vandalism that erupted in this massive manufacturing facility in Kolar. Now a lot of questions whether Apple will come in formally or not. So the police have now claimed that Srikanth, he's the one allegedly who's planned this entire protest and agitation. Now the reason to why workers of that unit protested was because they were allegedly not given enough pay and they were forced to work over 12 hours and they were overworked and their demands were not met with. So therefore the workers unions, which they say was instigated by the CPM student wing, eventually vandalized the entire property and damaged 40 crore worth equipment. So this is going to have some far-reaching implications and consequences, one believes. Now, let me quickly cut across to Tamil Nadu polls. Now that's heating up already. A star-studded affair with Kamalasan, with Rajnikant in the fray now. We understand that Kamalasan is a little upset with the fact that he had approached the election commission over an allotment of a battery torch symbol, but he was denied it. He was only given that battery torch symbol to contest the Puducherry assembly polls in 2021. So he refused to give away that. Now it seems like that symbol has been given to Rajnikant's party, which has been initially registered, the Makkal Katchi. That's been the symbol has been given to that party, and that's really upsetted Kamalasan. He's hoping to get that symbol back, so there's a little bit of a confusion there on the party symbol. Now, the elections are going to happen in 2021. Star-studded affair. Kamalasan, like I said even yesterday, is still pushing for an alliance with Rajnikant. If that happens, it's going to be quite a massive development in the Tamil Nadu polls. Definitely going to give a run to DMK and AIADMK, if at all the two stalwarts in the film industry come together in the political arena. A quick word as I come to a close on coronavirus updates here. Bharat Biotech, India's COVID-19 vaccine, is now in the final stage 3 trials. In fact, they've shown quite some positive results in the first trials as well. The interim findings of the phase 1 trials have referred to induced immune response and has registered no serious adverse effects. So basically, it's increased immunity for those who've taken the first shot in the first round of trials, and no side effects as such has been reported. And this vaccine too, like Pfizer and other vaccines, is given in 2 doses, which has a gap of 3 weeks. The first round of the dose has been well tolerated, and all of those the participants, about 22,000 volunteers have been volunteered. They volunteered to get the shot, and they've so far had no adverse effects across of 18 sites and cities across of India. 18 sites, I'm not too sure if that's cities. 18 centers across India. Volunteers have come in and offered to volunteer to get the shot, the first round, and they've all had good results, or rather nothing adverse so far. So this also now they've applied for emergency use authorization. So soon enough, India also could be rolling out its indigenous vaccine, which is Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. That's what we're all expecting for. Now, a quick word on US. US has also rolled out its vaccination drive. Now you have finally President Donald Trump getting his vaccination shot. It's due to happen in a day's time. Along with that, his family, of course, Donald Trump's family, and also Joe Biden, the president-elect. He and his family also will be getting their shot in public view. So this is quite a statement that the United States has made, considering that it is one of the worst hit countries in the world, and they're one of the first to get the vaccine. They were quick, they were fast, and they managed to roll it out sooner than most other countries. United Kingdom is also right now rolling out its vaccinations. Canada has also rolled out vaccination drives, all to its frontline workers. In fact, I myself spoke to one of the doctors in the United States about getting the vaccine shot first. Indian American or Indian origin doctor in America, Meghna Moodbagil, she spoke about how she felt. Initially, after getting the COVID-19 shot, there's a little soreness on the arm. You get it on the right arm. There's a little soreness, and around that area could be a little bit of swelling, but that happens in any flu shot. And right after a day's time, basically 24 hours on the clock, and then situation subsides, and then she said that she was feeling her normal self. She said that she was a lot relieved because she could go back to her family and do her normal, go about normally, and face the patients now confidently because she's immunized. But nonetheless, what she did very clearly mention is that you could not catch the virus, but you could maybe be contagious because your hands, whatever you touch around, could still catch the virus, and you could probably spread it if you're not following protocols like your hand etiquettes and your masks and all of that in place. So remember, a vaccine is not the ultimate solution. At the end of it, you've got to follow protocols like social distancing, try as much as you can. Your hand etiquettes is very important. Keep it clean, sanitized, and of course a face mask, your biggest social vaccine. That's that. British, in fact, London now is going into another lockdown because of spike in coronavirus cases. So it's almost a last night today before the entire capital goes into another phase of a lockdown. So it's quite upsetting because Christmas is just around the corner, massive festive mood people are in, but it's quite party pooper, if I could call it, that most of them have to now sit at home and enjoy their celebrations privately. A last note as I wrap, very important information. Remember all of that speculation about how the virus originated in China because it was a man-made virus, and they came out, they manufactured that virus from a lab in Wuhan. Now, the World Health Organization has decided to send a team of 10 international scientists to Wuhan sometime next month to investigate if at all this was a fact, if at all this is a man-made virus, and if China is responsible for it, and if it did come out from that particular lab. And of course, this is in the backdrop of Donald Trump accusing WHO of siding with China and covering up for China, and of course pushing for the fact that China itself used this virus as ammunition to become a superpower in the world. Now, all this speculation will maybe put to rest if the World Health Organization actually investigates, and let's hope the truth comes out. Until then, do stay safe and take care. Thank you for watching.